So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm just going to go over the application of the emulsion onto that screen. So I've got about 5 screens I've got there, and we're going to go over that process again and again just to make sure we're comfortable with that process before we move on. You know, we've gone through the cleaning, the degreasing. It's relatively simple. It's just sort of making sure you get that emulsion off, getting rid of all of that actual soap and getting it ready for the application of the emulsion. But what we'll do is we'll go through that process now in a light safe room, and then we'll go over it again and again just so we understand and get more comfortable with that process. So take it away. Enjoy. Ooh. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the actually applying the emulsion onto that screen, just so we're comfortable with it. So I've got my emulsion here. What we're going to do is we're going to load it into the scoop core. Knowing how much to put in the scoop core actually takes a little bit of time. You want to know if you're going to be applying it onto a number of screens, then you're going to want to be able to have enough to apply onto those screens. The last thing you want to do is to be applying it onto a screen and running out of emulsion. That's the issue. And plus, you don't want to have too much causing the emulsion to actually, when you're taking the scoop core off of the screen, that it actually starts to run down and create thick deposits. And then when you go to burn your screen, you've got different thicknesses of emulsion and they don't wash out properly. Again, I've already inspected my scoop core to make sure that it isn't damaged. We have that nice fine edge that's actually going to make contact with the screen, which makes it a lot safer and a lot better for my screen later on, that I don't actually drag up a damaged scoop core and then create any issues with my actual mesh. So here we go, we've got my screen here, like we've spoken around. We've got a print side, then we've got a substrate side here where the ink is going to go. What I want to do is I want to get my scoop core nice and coated. You know, I want to make sure that it's got enough emulsion throughout the scoop core, and then I want to put it at the bottom. I've got to put the scoop core at the bottom of the screen. If you don't feel comfortable holding the actual frame itself, you can put it up against a wall, and then you can use 2 hands to actually push the scoop core up. I find it more comfortable using my hand because I can bring it up and I can actually tip the screen back and then put all that emulsion back into the scoop core. I find this the easiest way. You can do it differently, but that's what I choose to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a scoop core at the bottom of the screen. It doesn't have to be right at the bottom because we can't really use the actual bottom of the screen. So we're probably going to want to bring it up a couple millimeters. We're going to tip our scoop core forward, make sure that all that emulsion is touching the mesh, and then we're going to want to bring it up. Nice. We're going to want to bring that back, let all that emulsion go back into the scoop core. We're going to lift the scoop core on the mesh a couple of times, and then we're going to bring it off. A nice clean emulsion there. So we'll do it again. I'm going to do a 2 and 2. So we're going to put it on there, we're going to put it forward, and then we're going to lift it up. We're going to bring it up that screen. And then we're tipping it back as I get to the top, letting that emulsion fall back into the scoop core. Nice and easy, you know, that's the way we like it. Like that. Oh no. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put that down. I'm just going to do the same thing. Tip the scoop core forward, let all the emulsion touch from left to right, and I'm going to bring it up. Oh goodness gracious, that sound just, oh. I'm going to do that, just bring it up like we've spoken about, and then I'm going to bring it off. No dripping, no nothing, it's just concentrated emulsion on that screen. Hubba hubba. And then we're going to bring it down again, and we're going to go for a 2 and 2. I like a nice thick deposit. We're going to put it on there, and then we're going to bring it up. Oh, 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 oh. There's something about it, I tell you, there's something about it. And then we're just going to bring it up and then bring it off. And I can't say there's nothing better than that. A nice coat. I'm going to put it on the drying rack, print side down, let all that emulsion fall through, and then we're going to be able to burn it and create those nice wells where we're going to push that ink onto the shirt. Bellissimo, that's what they say. So I actually haven't put enough emulsion in there. I don't feel comfortable with that amount for my next 2 and 2. So I'm actually going to put some more in. See, there's no limits. You could put 10 coats of emulsion on that screen on one side, 10 coats on the other. You can do anything. The only thing that limits you to anything to do with screen printing is yourself. And the best thing to do is experiment, you know, just do it, you know. So I'm going to grab my other screen. We're going to do the same. It's nice and clear, like it's nice and clear, a little bit of hazing, but I don't have any old exposed emulsion in there that's going to cause me issues later on. So we're going to get it again, always start on that print side. Going to put it at the bottom. Oh goodness, here we go, and then we're going to bring it up. Again, bringing it back. Right, the whole process of this video is just to get you comfortable with applying emulsion on the screen. So we're going to put it on the bottom again. Don't need to let it rest, we just put it on there. We're just putting this emulsion on the screen. Bring it up, there we go. On the other side, so this is again a 2 and 2. I put it on there, tip it forward. Oh, oh. Put it on there again, tip it forward. Yahtzee, Yahtzee. Oh, goodness gracious. I've got my screen here again. Just making sure it's the same thing over and over. At the bottom, bringing it up. Doesn't have to be too fast, not too slow, just a nice moderate pace. And you don't have to rush it, you know, it's going to go on there, just bring it up. And then tip it back, let it fall back into the actual scoop core. There's no rush, I could leave this here for ages. And then just bring it up. It's that simple. Put it on the bottom, tip it forward, tip scoop quarter forward, bring it up. There we go, like that. Bring it back, let it all fall back in, just hold that pressure on, let it all fall back in, give it a few, there we go. Oh. Here's the money shot. This is the money shot, listen. And back, let it all fall in, because you can watch it do it. Just let it all fall back in, bring it up a couple. There we go. Back at the bottom, tip it. Yes. There we go. Nice. Go and set that down again, print side down. Let that fall through. Maybe you might be able to notice, but there is a small amount of hazing just here. It's nothing to worry about because we can actually still push the ink through that hazed area. What we want to make sure is that we don't have any old exposed emulsion in there. So when we do that reclaiming, cleaning and degreasing process, we want to make sure that the mesh is absolutely spotless. A little bit of hazing is fine, as you can see on this screen. I just want to try and make sure that you can see that, but it can still go through there. We can still get ink through that. It's just that hardened emulsion that we can't get ink through. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually noticing that I'm dropping down. With these 2 and 2, we actually go through a lot more emulsion, but I think it's worth it so that I have a nice, it's always dripping. It doesn't matter how much you try, you get emulsion everywhere. I've got it on my bed sheets, I've got it, you know, in my hair. This stuff gets everywhere. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what you do. You know, I'm probably not doing a good job there, but emulsion gets everywhere. So I've got enough in my screen, and that's just a case of that. You know, you put enough in there, and you can sort of start to feel the weight of the emulsion in the scooper, and you can start to feel it. You know, that feels like enough, and it's going to get me through these 2 screens I've got left. So I'm going to put it on the base, bring it up, bring it back, let it all fall back into the scooper. Nice. again, put it at the bottom, tip it forward, bring it up, and then that's exactly what I want to see. Bring it up, and again, just make sure that the emulsion is in the scooper, because if we pull it off and then it starts dribbling down, different thicknesses, different issues, put it on, bring it up. Oh yes, oh hubba hubba. Or as Mr. Flintstone said, yabba dabba do. Yabba dabba do. Bottom of the mesh, bring it up. Oh! Here we go. That's it. Here we go. Nice. Nice, smooth, clean. That's what we want to look for. We want to look for that nice, smooth, clean emulsion on there. So we've just taken our screen out of the drying area. What we don't want to do is touch it with our fingers. The oil from our fingers can get on there, and when we put our emulsion on there, it can actually cause fish eyes and pinholes. So what we want to do is get our screen out, don't touch the screen with our fingers, and make sure that nothing contacts the actual screen itself. We want to make sure it stays clean and degreased and nothing on there to prevent any pinholes, any fish eyes, anything happening from the emulsion adhering to the screen and then causing a nice crisp image later on. So we put our emulsion at the bottom of the screen, tip it forward, and then we bring it up. Once it has all contacted the mesh, bring it back, bring it up, make sure it all falls back into the scoop core, and then we've got a nice layer of emulsion. So we're going to do it again. We're going to put it at the bottom, make sure it all contacts, bring it up, and then we're going to tip it back, bring it up a few times, still holding pressure on that mesh, and then we go. That's it. Then we're going to go on the substrate side, and we're going to push that emulsion back. We're going to push it back. That's what we want to do. So we're going to put it on there, and then we're going to bring it up. Bring it up a couple, still holding pressure on that mesh, and then bring it. So we put it on the mesh, tip it forward, bring it forward, just holding enough pressure on there so that we can actually, there we go, nice. Nice and clean. You see it's nice and clean there. Nothing falling back, which is good. So what we're going to want to do again is just get a scoop core, tip it forward, you know, to an angle that we're comfortable, get a scoop core, tip it forward, and then once it's all contacting, we want to bring it up. And then what we want to do is bring it back, just hold pressure on that screen, and then bring it up a few. That's it. Scoop core at the bottom, tip it forward. Once it's all contacting, then we want to bring it up. And then as it's coming up, what we want to do is slowly but surely bring the actual screen up. And what happens is the actual emulsion starts falling back into that scoop core. Here we go. Put a scoop core on, the substrate side, tip it on. Once it's all contacting, then we're going to bring it up. Oh. Then we bring it back, let it all fall into the scoop core. I can't say it again, just let the screen and the scoop core do the work. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You just put it on there, tip it forward, pour a little bit of pressure on it, bring it up, and then when you get to that point, just tip it back, and it all falls in there. Bring it up, 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 and then take it off. It's nice and simple. It's a case of just doing it and doing it and doing it, and when you've degreased it properly, and you've got yourself a nice clean bit of mesh, you're going to have a nice smooth emulsion coating on. There you go. That's just applying emulsion onto the screen. Just a few times, just going through that process again and again. And whenever you're trying to do this, it is best to prepare more than one screen for when you're learning how to burn an image onto that emulsion. For the simple fact that when one doesn't work, you don't have to wait until the screen has been washed, degreased, emulsioned, and then have another shot. You want to have at least a couple there waiting, so that if you do have an issue with the burning of the image onto the emulsion, you do have some spares and you don't have to wait hours to have another go. I know that when I started, I had 3 screens. Then I mix one up, I go to the next one, and I'd work out my exposure time, because the exposure is different from everyone else, and it does change. When the bulb starts to break down, you can have an issue with exposure times, and it's always changing. If you leave your emulsion to dry for longer than, a day, 2 days, 3 days, it always changes. So what you want to do is try and set up a level of, default. I let my screens dry for a day, then I take them out. I don't expose them to any light on the way out. I put them on there and I leave it for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Then you have a set point of where to go for next time. My screen's been out for a week. Maybe it's a little bit exposed in the other one. I'll take it down to 3 minutes and 20 seconds. You always have to be trying and looking for different things, because you will come against issues and problems, but there are always ways to fix those challenges. And that's what I hope to do through this process, is learn and teach along the way. But until next time, you mad dogs, ciao.